Let me show you exactly how I called out and caught the biggest trade of my life, resulting in a $16,000 profit on Euro USD. So first off, we're going to take a look at the Notion template that I send out to my members in the beginning of every week with my weekly outlooks. First off, let's take a look at the DXY. I wanted to see this high get hit. I had been bullish on the DXY since about 2 weeks ago. And as I said here, last week's drawn liquidity is inches away on the DXY. I would expect that to get hit early next week and then the annotated high following that. Now, if we take a look at the actual DXY, you can see that exactly that happened. The 108.059 high was hit fairly fast coming into this week. Now, of course, I wasn't trading the DXY itself, but I used this information to capitalize on Euro USD. So here we are back on the Notion template. However, this is the Euro USD. And as I was bullish on the DXY, I was remaining bearish on Euro USD because, again, just like the DXY, I had been bearish on the Euro USD for about 2 weeks as well. They move inversely correlated to each other, meaning when the DXY goes higher, Euro USD goes lower because the quote currency of Euro USD is the US dollar. So I had 2 weekly POIs coming into this week specifically. The first one being this internal range liquidity low, the other one being this monthly imbalance that you see right here. So now that you all have an idea as to why I was bearish on Euro USD, we're now sitting on a 1 hour time frame, which is the time frame where the trade was executed. So I was looking at this swing high here specifically, and I was looking to capitalize off of the optimal trade entry right here. As you can see, we had a high right here that came very, very close to hitting the optimal trade entry, but didn't actually hit it. If we go to a 4 hour time frame, you can also see that this is a high that is created within a larger imbalance right here. And if you've seen my videos before, you know that these highs are very, very likely going to cause a reversal. So I had the optimal trade entry resting right above this high, and I had a turtle soup criteria to also enter this trade because this is a high made inside of an imbalance and it did not fill the entire imbalance. So the only rule that I have for my stop loss when I'm entering on a trade like this is that I include the entire imbalance in case the new high wants to rebalance the entire inefficiency. So I called out on Friday of last week that I was going to short the Euro USD here for a swing trade, and my stop loss was a tiny bit below this high here. My entry was the 0.618 of the optimal trade entry, and my take profit was my first POI, my first weekly POI, which again was that internal range liquidity low and not the monthly imbalance. Simply because this is a swing trade, and on my swing trades, I usually risk a lot more because I take a lot less trades. So I was completely fine with a 3RR trade. There was no need for me to target my second weekly POI. So let's see exactly what ended up happening once price reached the optimal trade entry here. And as you can see, on Monday of this week, actually, I ended up getting filled. Today's Friday at the time of this recording. So let's see exactly what happens after I got filled. Notice how the market dropped significantly and then returned up here. Now I'm going to explain to you why I still stayed in this position even though I was 1.5R in profit. The reason why is simple. We have some geopolitical tensions that occurred this week between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine actually decided to fire a missile into Russia, which creates geopolitical tensions. And one thing I want you to understand about geopolitical tensions in Europe, or just uncertainty in general, European investor sentiment is likely going to take their money away from the euro and put it in a safer asset like the US dollar. US dollar is the world's reserve currency, and therefore whenever there's uncertainty regarding any other currency, people tend to take their money out of that currency and place it with the dollar instead. That obviously decreases the value of the euro and increases the value of the dollar. So because Ukraine decided to fire a missile at Russia, that was actually perfect for my already running trade. Again, because that is historically going to decrease the value of the euro and increase the value of the dollar. At one point during the Russia-Ukrainian war, when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, the euro was actually worth less than the dollar because investor sentiment took their money away from the euro and put it in the dollar. So I was expecting the exact same scenario to happen with this missile strike. Again, it creates uncertainty, which again is likely going to decrease the value of the euro. So I actually ended up adding even more to my positions once we returned to my original entry, and let's see exactly what happened after that. As you can see, we ended up completely smashing take profit. There were some people that held all the way down here to my second weekly POI. I personally didn't. I took it all off at the first one. But again, utilizing fundamental analysis, I was able to capitalize way more on this position than originally intended. So when we're talking about swing trades and higher time frame trades in general, I like to use fundamental analysis. But the first entry here was purely based off of technicals. And then luckily for me, we had some geopolitical tension happen when I was already in an existing trade, and that caused me to simply add more to my position because it gave me way more confidence in a weaker euro and a stronger dollar. So that is exactly how I have my biggest trade of all time, which was again about $16,000. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. A bit of fundamental analysis, and of course, always technical analysis as well. Again, this is a saying that I like to use with my students. Fundamental analysis are great for direction, but bad for timing. So you use technical analysis on the higher time frame for timing, and then you use the fundamental analysis for the direction. For intraday traders, that don't matter too much. I don't really pay attention to fundamental analysis when I'm trading my intraday trading accounts. But when I'm trading my swing trading accounts like I was in this scenario, I am of course going to pay attention to the fundamental analysis because that is going to be way more beneficial for me. So thank you a lot for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.